Plugin of the week is the Waves Greg Wells Voice Centric. This is a new series of plugins that will be coming out through Waves, and the first one to be released is a Greg Wells Voice Centric. Now, this is a simple plugin, sort of harkening back a little bit to the one knob series, where you have a single knob, and it's an intensity knob. So, like the other Artist Series plugins, when you actually set them up, you'll have an input and an output level control. And what you'll see is an LED that will light up one of three colors, green, yellow, orange, red. That's 4 colors, or no color, so maybe that's 5. And so you'll set your input level accordingly. So that's one of the first things you do, and that will get the activate the processing to kind of work well. And then you'll have an intensity control, which you will sweep up, and this will give you a variety of different processing. So you have no control over what's going on inside. The idea is that they've taken, Greg Wells has worked very closely with Waves and taken a lot of the plugins that he uses for Waves and developed a sound or created a sound that works within the architecture of an Artist Series plugin. This includes delays, doubler effect, and reverb. So you have the ability to add all of these different types of effects. So what happens as you kind of sweep through, and we'll go through with a vocal, and we'll talk about some of the ways that you can kind of work with it. You will get this sweeping change, not like a frequency sweep, but what will happen is the processing and the way the processing is applied will change as you kind of go through the plugin. So let's start by scrolling down here to our audio, and let's just cue up a little bit of that, and then see what we got.
Slow down, baby, take a moment and breathe. I can't hear what you're saying. Stop for a minute, come sit there with me. I can see you're afraid, and I don't know what to tell you. You're scared at my failure.
All right, so this is bypass, just so you can get an idea. You've probably heard this on some of the other videos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the gain here a little bit, and let's just kind of get a little bit of audio feeding in so we can get this kind of triggering a little bit more on the yellow side.
Slow down, baby, take a moment and breathe. I can't hear what you're saying.
Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to back off with the same amount of gain here on the back side here, so we can just kind of even this out. And now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of sweep in the main intensity control. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solo it up here just so we can kind of hear what goes on.
Yeah. Slow down, baby, take a moment and breathe. I can't hear what you're saying. Stop for a minute, come sit there with me. I can see you're afraid.
So immediately what you can kind of hear in there's obviously a lot of presence in. You got a little bit of scoop in sort of the marbly, maybe sort of 600 area, or maybe a little bit higher than that, 800 area in the voice. So it kind of opens that up. You get a little bit more air presence on the top. In this case, there's a little bit of an edge on there, so it'll probably have to be de-essed. And then also you got some compression. Sounds like some low-level compression starting to kick in to help kind of bring in some of the focus and presence. And let's kind of A/B this in and out just from this one place here.
Yeah. Slow down, baby, take a moment and breathe. I can't hear what you're saying. Stop for a minute, come sit there with me. I can see you're afraid, and I don't know what to tell you. You're scared at my
Now I'm going to kind of go up a little bit higher.
And so you're leaving here before it goes wrong. Don't you know you can't keep running from where you belong again? Oh yeah. And I'll find you again.
So one thing that's kind of cool and interesting, you'll see a gain reduction meter here, even though you don't necessarily have control over the settings that manipulate that. So it's not a significant amount of gain reduction, at least what's displayed here. Also, what's very cool here is that when you sweep it up, and some of these plugins will do this type of thing where it just gets louder as you kind of go. So you'll hear as I bypass in and out, what ends up happening is that it kind of translates a little bit better. so that you can A/B it more effectively, and that was something that he purposefully wanted to have designed into the plugin itself.
Stop for a minute, come sit there with me. I can see you're afraid, and I don't know what to tell you. You're scared I might fail you, and so you're leaving here before it goes wrong. Don't you know you can't keep running from where you belong?
So what it sounds like there is like a bit more pumping and breathing. You can see the more excessive gain reduction kind of going on within that area. So the idea there is that you can kind of sweep it in, and based on the input signal and the vocal, the quality of the original vocal that you have, you will find yourself going to different locations or different places in the intensity knob to get the sound that you're looking for. So probably more for this because it's a little bit more on meant to be a little bit more balanced sounding, not necessarily kind of filtered down or overhyped. So we'll kind of start with a sort of medium setting here.
Stop for a minute, come sit there with me. I can see you're afraid, and I don't know what to tell you. You're scared I might fail you, and so you're leaving here before it goes wrong. Don't you know you can't keep running from where you belong? Again, oh yeah, and I'll find you again. Pretend, oh yeah, and I'll find you again. No river to run or mountain to hide.
Okay, so now when we start to work with this, we also have delays that can be added in. So we'll start a little bit with the delays here. And
stop for a minute, come sit there with me. I can see you're afraid, and I don't know what to tell you. You're scared I might fail you, and so you're leaving here before it goes wrong. Don't you know you can't keep running from where you belong?
so now if you listen to it, the delays are kind of dark. They sort of ping pong back and forth. So they're kind of filtered down a little bit, and that's kind of cool because it gives it like a nice little ghosting type of effect. And so you can add just like a little bit to kind of give it a little
Stop
texture.
For a minute, come sit there with me. I can see you're afraid, and I don't know what to tell you. You're scared I might fail you, and so you're leaving here before it goes wrong. Don't you know?
So the idea there is you can kind of, bring in the amount of that you would like to add into the signal. Now, what happens in terms of the signal flow is the input signal comes in, it goes through the intensity, then it splits. So the dry signal goes out, and then you blend in the amount. So you'll notice here that there's no wet-dry control. Essentially, what you have is volume controls for each of the different effects. Another very common effect, and this would kind of work perfectly for this type of track, would be a doubler kind of effect. And
Stop for a minute, come sit there with me. I can see you're afraid, and I don't know what to tell you. You're scared I might fail you, and so you're leaving here before it goes wrong. Don't you know?
So that's a pretty tight doubler effect, something that would be more akin to sort of a static chorus effect. It's not really modulating so much, but you get a little bit of a spread from it, and this can kind of add like a nice shine or a sheen, especially to something along the lines of this type of vocal.
Stop for a minute, come sit there with me. I can see you're afraid, and I don't know what to tell you. You're scared I might fail you, and so you're leaving here before it goes wrong. Don't you know you can't keep...
So it can kind of add like a slickness to it. So there's one, and then also there's a reverb, and let's go over this a little separately.
Stop for a minute, come sit there with me. I can see you're afraid, and I don't know what to tell you. You're scared I might fail you, and so you're leaving here before it goes wrong. Don't you know you can't keep running from where you belong?
So what you'll notice with this reverb, like you can actually hear the delay. So the delay is out here, but you could hear the delay. So there's a bit of pre-delay in it. And the cool part about that is it creates a nice separation from the lead vocal to where the reverb starts. And what that does is it keeps the vocal sort of a bit up front, a little more focused and dry. You can create this depth space. And what's very cool about the reverb that is done in here is that it has it comes in waves. Like you can actually hear echoes in the background. There's a big open kind of quality to it. And it's also kind of a warm reverb, which is really nice, especially for this type of thing.
Stop for a minute, come sit there with me. I can see you're afraid, and I don't know what to tell you. You're scared I might fail you, and so you're leaving here before it goes wrong.
And what many people do in this type of case is actually set up delays, leave them dry, and then pre-fader feed into to kind of create these kind of echo pockets. And it sounds a little bit like that. I'm not sure exactly how he put it together, but let's kind of mix in some of the other effects here, like the doubler effect.
Stop for a minute, come sit there with me. I can see you're afraid, and I don't know what to tell you. You're scared I might fail you, and so you're leaving here before it goes wrong. Don't you know you can't keep running?
All right, so let's back it up here. Go back to the verse section, and let's pick it up.
Slow down, baby, take a moment and breathe. I can't hear what you're saying. Stop for a minute, come sit there with me. I can see you're afraid, and I don't know what to tell you. You're scared I might fail you, and so you're leaving here before it goes wrong. Don't you know you can't keep running from where you belong? Again, oh yeah.
So we'll go back to the verse, and then we can kind of A-B some of this in and out.
Slow down, baby, take a moment and breathe. I can't hear what you're saying. Stop for a minute, come sit there with me. I can see you're afraid, and I don't know what to tell you. You're scared I might fail you, and so you're leaving here before it goes wrong. Don't you know you can't keep running from where you belong?
So here, but by A-Bing it all in and out, you can kind of hear the real depth effect. In this case, because of the warmth, it can sometimes feel not necessarily like lost in the mix, and obviously I didn't feature the mix around us. I'm just have some stems up with the vocal in there, but it's meant to be create this feeling of depth and this openness to the sound that is not necessarily heard all the time. And so depending upon the original signal, I can also crank up the intensity to kind of make that a little bit more audible.
Slow down, baby, take a moment and breathe. I can't hear what you're saying. Stop for a minute, come sit there with me. I can see you're afraid, and I don't know what to tell you. You're scared I might fail you, and so you're leaving here before it goes wrong. Don't you know you can't keep running from where you belong again?
And so, very cool. You know, it's a fun little plugin. Great for, you know, just kind of working with vocals. It's kind of designed a little bit more, I think, for pop, but I think you could probably use it on almost any kind of vocal. It's one of those that you can try it out, check it out, dial it in, see if it kind of gives you the sound that you're going for. And it's designed to be sort of a simple thing where you don't have to go through all of figuring out exactly what it takes in terms of laying out all the different types of processors to get a vocal sound. This is something that you can kind of throw on and you know, grab a vocal sound very quickly. And that's kind of what the Artist Series is all about. So a cool one, fun one. A whole new set of Artist Series plugins on the way from Greg Wells, and so we look forward to seeing what else he has to offer. There you have it, plugin of the week, the Greg Wells Voice Centric.